I don't know how much I believed it. Um, just from a match standpoint, outclassed, outsized, out like everything except maneuverability, and they haven't had her leaning into her legitimate fighting background. She is she and Malachi train in the same place. They both practice together because they're partners, and I want to see more of that. But is that going to lead her to a title shot? Because she already had one, and I don't know what we're doing with the crowns. I don't know what we're doing. I hope it leads to something because, man, do I love King Woods. King Woods is incredible. I really like Zelina. In the second run especially, I like her. What are your thoughts?
Mm-hmm. I agree with you. Happy for her, but it's hard for me to envision a world in which Zelina Vega will be booked to beat, say, Charlotte Flair or Sasha Banks on a big stage. But great shine for her, phenomenal talent, and like you, hoping this tournament victory leads to something greater for both wrestlers, or superstars as WWE would say. But Brad, you told me, in your opinion, arguably the best match on this card on Crown Jewel was Hell in a Cell between Edge and Seth Rollins. I want to know, what are your thoughts on the match, and does this rank for you amongst the greatest Hell in a Cell matches ever? Are we talking Undertaker Mankind type level?
So the Undertaker Mankind match it's the greatest Hell in a Cell match ever. And it doesn't mean it's the best. It means it's the greatest. So I love that match because there are so many iconic moments. But I don't know if you've watched that full match back in any kind of recency. The match kind of sucks. So it's like really bad knees Mankind against a broken-footed Undertaker. And they did a really great job of playing to what they could. It's not I guess I shouldn't say it's a bad match. It's just like you could tell they're not at peak levels. There's a lot of standing and a lot of not moving around, that kind of thing. And then just watching how unbelievably unsafe everything was while they're watching. You can see zip ties snapping. And then to think that thing was held together by zip ties. What are we doing? And then to throw a 300-pound body off the top of a cage 20 feet onto, of course, the Spanish announce table, because that's where it always ends up. Iconic, but to have him get up. It was the story that ended up being told, and it wasn't the story they were trying to tell, and it was still great. That will forever be the best Hell in a Cell match to me, and it's sort of what exemplifies the idea of Hell in a Cell. This match was a better match. It made complete sense. I don't know that the 90s, they kind of did Hell in a Cells to do Hell in a Cells. Sometimes it was, well, I guess I shouldn't even say that. They do Hell in a Cell now to do Hell in a Cell, just to have a pay-per-view and just, hey, we have Hell in a Cell. Why? Because it's there, because we have it named after the pay-per-view. But in the 90s, it was all like, we'll just put it in Hell in a Cell because we want to have color, and everybody's going to bleed and everybody's going to be violent. And this match made sense. This feud made sense. It had to end in Hell in a Cell. Seth was in Edge's house. Seth was by his kid's stuff. He was invading privacy. Of course it was going to end in Hell in a Cell. It was perfect. This match was great. And it wasn't great because of how fast it was. It was great because of how slow and methodical and thoughtful it was. Every bit of it made sense. All of it made them both look good. It was both guys getting over, both guys putting on a great show. I think the right person won, because even with that win, it didn't make anybody lose anything. Either of them could have won this feud, and it would have been fine. What did you think about this Hell in a Cell match?
Right, I agree with you. It's so much more meaningful when the story dictates the match needing to be in a Hell in a Cell. It's not just for a gimmick. It's not just to bring the red box like structure out there. These two, right? Like what? These two needed to finish their rivalry inside this structure because they despise each other. This is the only thing that can contain their hatred for one another. This made me think of the epic Sasha and Bailey Hell in a Cell match that we got not too long ago.
So good.
Yes, where we were all bought in and knew this has to be the place and the venue for the score to be settled. So when WWE can build a program and really lead us to that Hell in a Cell match, there are very few things I think as effective as it. Seth Rollins, in my opinion, continues to be one of the best, most reliable workers on the planet. I'm a huge Seth fan, and I really believe this is one of the signature moments of Edge's return. I was feeling a bit with Edge as I am with CM Punk in some ways of I'm elated he's back, but what is he doing? Where do we go from here? And this for me was if not the one of Edge's signature moments since returning at the Royal Rumble.
He had some moments in there in his since his return that I thought all of his stuff made sense, and then weird gaps where it was like, well, what are we doing? And I don't know if that was injury or if that's part of his contract or if they just, we don't have anything for you, pal. I don't know what was going on there, but his feud with Randy was great. And that one made sense, but then he got hurt. And I really wanted to see where it went there. I would have loved to see Edge coming back as Brood Edge, but against The Fiend would have been amazing. But we never got to see that, unfortunately. I'm with you, man. Seth Rollins is so good in every aspect. He's a great talker. He's a great wrestler. He's oozing charisma, incredible entrance. He has all of it. Edge, it's the same thing. That's why I think this feud worked, is because they are sort of the same. And they both have done that. They're both ultimate opportunists. They're both, man, it was so fun to see this. That match was great. I actually thought all of Crown Jewel was really good. I didn't like some of the matches I didn't even want to see, but for what they were good. And I cannot undersell how impressive it was to see the PWI #1 women's wrestler in the world pick up two human beings like a pumpkin.
Another incredible feat of strength. Bianca Belair has had such a wonderful run over this last year, and I was so concerned when she went from NXT to Monday Night Raw, and she was just sort of floundering, if you will, just not even being utilized when she moved up. I was so worried that they weren't going to utilize her full talents, but the run she has had over this last year, main eventing night 1 of WrestleMania. You mentioned on episode 1 of our podcast here on Gimmick Infringement, picking up Otis on a random SmackDown episode, this match at Crown Jewel. She is such a star, and she is truly the creator wrestler in WWE 2K. She has everything. The charisma, the in-ring work, the just authenticity of Bianca Belair is so amazing, and just a well-deserved #1 ranking. The arguably, you could say, the greatest women's wrestler in the world. Just so well-deserved. We love the EST here on Gimmick Infringement.
Yes, so excited for her. So excited to see that match. I was excited about that match. I really liked what was happening at the end. The double disarmor, and then Bianca just getting up with both of them. The one-handed holding Sasha. Just unbelievably strong. That was really fun. That was a fun match. I thought it was overall a really good match with 3 of the best in the world. And I would watch that again. Unfortunately, on SmackDown, it took us a little while to be able to watch any wrestling. Around 40 minutes to be specific, where we got to see Drew McIntyre come out and say, enough of this nonsense. How about we watch a damn wrestling match? Or how about we have a damn wrestling match? What did you think about all of the Brock Roman stuff before actual wrestling on this wrestling program?
Right. It's complicated. On one hand, like I would imagine most of our listeners, I love watching Brock Lesnar destroy things and people. I popped for him just throwing around referees and backstage officials and talent from the locker room that came out. That's always fun. Him F5ing Adam Pearce was incredible. Adam Pearce played his role perfectly. But as you said, Brad, 40 minutes, the first 40 minutes, give or take, of SmackDown being dedicated to non-in-ring work was not all that exciting to me. Of course, I popped for the performances and Brock doing his job and these other wrestlers and officials doing their job and doing it well. But that was nearly half of your show that wasn't focused on in-ring action. And this, for me, seems like a retread of how Brock is always used. I've really come to appreciate Brock more and more over the years in terms of his contributions to the business, his selling ability. I mean, if you have Brock Lesnar on your card, that's a main event match. That's going to bring people in, even in the year 2021. But they do this every time. We know Brock is not going to be here every week. He is a part-time, I was going to say employee, but I don't know if WWE would call him an employee. Right. He's a part-time independent contractor, right? So we know that, and more power to him, right? He's earned the place in life where he can do that. But they do this every time. Okay, Brock comes back, and if he loses the match, how do we write him off TV for several months, but still make him look strong? It's a retread. I am so grateful that our head of the table, our tribal chief, who we will acknowledge, won the match and is still the Universal Champion, Roman Reigns. But I just wish we would get full-time talent who will be propelled to be in a program with Reigns. Of course, Reigns versus Brock, super exciting. But this was so expected. Brock is going to come back. Of course, he's going to be suspended. And then we'll see him probably at the Royal Rumble. Thus, he'll have a WrestleMania match. But Brad, I just want in-ring action from my wrestling show. Ideally, from the very beginning. It just seems so cyclical with WWE that we have to start the show with a promo.
Yeah.
And sometimes, like on Friday, a introduction promo leads to 40 minutes later, and we're still not seeing a match yet. So I love Drew McIntyre being self-aware. I do not love waiting 40 minutes for in-ring competition.
No, terrible. And to have the show, a 2-hour show with commercials, 40 minutes without anything physical that was at least official, because it was Brock yeeting people. And then to end with that absolute just duck fart of a belt exchange. The wrestling happened in the middle of it, and what of it was memorable? What moments were memorable? What are you doing? So I'm all for having the promo segments, but have them be shorter. You used to do it. You used to have Mean Gene do it for you. Just have shorter segments where you can have people come in and go, this is who I'm fighting today, and this is why I'm mad about it, or whatever. Just, it doesn't have to be 40 minutes. The only thing I can think is they got to get their top stars, their top guys on the show. They have to be present. You have to be able to see them. But we got to give them a break because we just got back from Saudi Arabia. I don't think the WWE universe, is going to be upset if they have other wrestlers on there because they just got back from the other side of the planet. I don't get it. You have so much talent on that roster you're not using already. Have them get some time and then do like a live via satellite, even if it's in the back room set up to look like satellite. Just do those kinds of things and let some other talent shine instead of just going, well, just fill the time. It's very strange.
it's very strange. And I want to give a shout out to Mustafa Ali. Unfortunately,